Bang! Welcome back to the podcast.
Bang,
it's
the
the
podcast.
That was your worst yet.
I
should probably turn off my music so I can
clearly
hear things. There we
Yeah.
go. All right. Well,
So we're back again. We're still in lockdown,
Oh,
which
shit.
I think probably won't end for another 2 years. But Boris is saying it will end next month. So
or today or tomorrow, as the media have been pumping it out. They've been saying,
Oh,
"Oh
yeah,
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 oh
they're
yeah,
all-
it's gonna be over like today, but it's fine."
Yeah,
just like it, it's like when people say, "Come on, your parents don't hate you." They do.
But
That was
they,
just a general example.
But we also love
it's like
you.
when people. Yeah, so when people lie to you to make you feel better.
They're
yeah. They're trying to lessen. Like,
they're
how-
contractually obligated at some point.
It's like when
Anyway.
you tell kids that Santa is real, but whatever. Well, James
Bro, I remember
Williamson's-
crying over the fact that Santa wasn't real. I remember that. Same with the Easter Bunny and that.
What were you like? 15?
You 15? No, like I don't know what age, but my mum like said it accidentally, and I was like thinking so that everyone just lying to me. Then I started crying because Santa wasn't real. Just...
I remember. I can't remember what I was saying, but I got my dad really angry, and he just shouted at me.
Oh.
He was just like, "Well, he's not real." I'm like, "All right." I was 9. So that was
I think
I
I
was
think
just-
I,
I
I
was just
think I was
wondering,
probably 9 as well, but like
I
I
was
was
just
like,
wondering
it
who
was today.
who the guy I saw snatching up that kid was. Then it wasn't Santa.
Finn, when
yeah,
did
that's what
you
he's got in
get
his stack.
Finn, what was the story of you understanding that Santa wasn't real? Did you start crying? Did you start
I think
like
I
punching
cried.
the wall?
I was like, I remember I was asking my parents for a Wii U for Christmas, and I kept saying like they were like, oh, well, maybe not. I was like, but it was Santa. And then like when I got home, they're like, listen, Santa isn't real. We can't get you this. And then I just got really upset.
Wait, did you get upset because Santa wasn't real, or because you couldn't get a Wii U?
Probably both. Probably both. I never did get that Wii U. It's okay. I have a Switch
No,
now.
but you got a Switch instead. So
I
here we
think
are in the future.
when I got told that Santa wasn't real, I think it was actually on Easter because they said that the Easter Bunny isn't real. So I asked like, "Oh, so is Santa not real then?" And then they said, "Yeah." I was like, I started crying because I thought he was real. Like,
I never had. I don't even think I ever thought the Easter Bunny was real. I just never paid it out. I was just like,
I don't know why. I just assumed it was. I just like didn't question it. Like I was like, yeah, it probably is real. Like same with like the
because
tooth fairy and
I
that.
never
but-
did. I never did egg hunts. And my parents just gave me the Easter eggs. So they never told me that there was ever the possibility that it could have been real.
Yeah,
So I just never.
I don't know. I just assumed because I don't know. Like I was a dumb kid, so I like never questioned anything. So
James,
Anyhow, yeah, let's.
You haven't written on the wheel.
Spin the wheel
Okay,
round and round.
We're gonna spin the wheel. Spin it. You know, like the wheels on the bus. Make sure it goes round and round.
please don't
Can't hear anything.
check my knowledge.
What does it say?
Let's get serious again.
Oh no, spin it again.
Spin it again.
Nope.
Yeah.
Spin it again.
Okay.
Yeah, spin it again. Spin it again.
I don't want it to land on the quiz
did-
or anything to do with
we did
general
one a couple
knowledge
weeks
because I have
ago.
like 2 IQ. So
It doesn't matter, Alex. I've linked a couple of quizzes. So.
Family
let's
history.
get serious.
No, funny history.
What is that?
Funny history. History that's fun.
Oh right, yeah. That was Finn. That was Finn's one. Come on, start us
Go
off.
on, Finn. Not to put you under pressure or anything.
Oh yeah, I have to remember the things I was thinking about like way back when.
Because I don't know history. I'm completely out.
I literally wait. Is this just like
What?
funny?
Did you say you pushed your brother in the stinging net?
Yes, into a bush of stinging netches. I pushed him
That's
in.
funny history.
Well, it is.
I mean-
I laughed. He cried, but
That's funny to you. It's
Yeah.
like that's like psychopathic.
Okay, let me clarify. This was like 8 years
So
ago.
James stabs his brother like, how? What the hell,
No, he
dude?
stabbed me with scissors.
Oh, okay, that's pretty sick.
This is
We're not talking about personal history.
this is the main
on.
story that
He's
I know of.
just
Basically, it's about a Finnish in World War II. It's a Finnish soldier named Ivo Koivunen, and I'm probably not pronouncing
Cool
that
name.
right. But basically, so in the war, they would give basically like squads of soldiers like amphetamines, like essentially meth, to help to sort of assist them during
Oh, right.
combat if they were ever injured and needed like an extra burst of like adrenaline to get them through a dangerous situation. And so basically, so he was under attack and he was carrying his entire group's amphetamines. He then took his entire group's worth of amphetamines and then for 2 weeks went on a Russian killing rampage. He on skis he traveled 250 miles. He stepped on a landmine and survived.
Wait, but
Why are we
amphetamines
taking this? So it makes it immune to landmines. What
indestructible.
the...
Why is Alex just holding a toothbrush?
He fed on living birds.
Okay.
No.
He gave like a group of Russian soldiers that had an encounter with him were left with nightmares of this Finnish monster of a man.
Whoa, what?
Do you know how physically large he was? Because if he was really
physically
small,
large?
that would have been really funny.
No, when he
You
took it, it made him like grow like massive. Like he was like a bear size after taking out.
Need to look this up. I don't remember the full story. Hang on, I'm
But was that the inspiration for the Hulk?
Maybe.
Because it could have been.
Apparently he wasn't conscious during this state.
So he limitless.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So he was Jesus Christ, he wasn't conscious. He just like
He wasn't aware of what he was
so
doing.
He skied
he
250
skied. He's like,
miles.
oh, he's like body was controlling it.
When he was found, his heartbeat was measured doing 200 beats per minute.
How did he not overdose? Like what? How did his like heart not like just like, why did he have a heart attack?
When they found him, he weighed only 43 kilograms.
How is he? How can he carry a gun or anything?
More than him.
How did he kill people if he was like that light and then like
he lived a full life, dying at the age of 71 in 1989.
I don't think this guy was actually human. He's probably still alive now. Before he died, he took a bunch of them again. It just prolonged his life or something.
How did he even live?
How did he not overdose or just die like in general by like people shooting at him and that? Like he steps on a landmine, like it's alright.
This motherfucker just went. He literally just went. This dude just went sicko mode. He took like an entire squad's worth of like amphetamine, and then just went.
He must have just done this a load of times and like swatted the bullets out.
Imagine anyone else just watching him, like he just.
Sure he was seeing the world.
Sprint, like he sprints as fast as he can, just runs.
He was
at someone.
skiing. He wasn't running. He was skiing.
Oh, skiing. Yes.
Do you know what? I bet
no
he was probably on so much drugs that he probably didn't even need snow to ski.
Yeah, he was skiing on like the road. When he jammed, he was jamming his like poles into the concrete, just moving himself.
Yeah,
forward.
Yeah, just sparks were coming out. It was like igniting it, like
coming out the back of his skis.
It was like igniting the nitrogen in the air, or so. It was like making these massive explosions as he's going
All of
past.
this time is like swirling around him.
The drugs made him so physically hot but his feet welded to the skis, so he couldn't ever physically take them off.
It's the only on his Wikipedia page. It's like the only like bit of information about him that he did this.
This is just
Because
so weird.
technically it was an overdose, but it was like
He survived the overdose and a landmine.
But
So
he lived.
if a landmine can't kill him, an overdose can't. Like
he
it's
was
basically
was injured by the landmine, but he wasn't killed by it.
still, it's like
It's like an Ice Age where they go, "Did you die?" Sadly, yes. But
but I
lived.
lived.
That's this guy.
I have others as well. Like I think it's also World War II. It's a man named, I think it was Jack Washington was his name. Was that his name?
That's a less cool name.
No, hang on. Wait, so
I bet you this guy didn't
Scottish
overdose on amphetamines.
used sword. World War II. Oh no! It was John. His full name was John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill. He was a Scottish soldier in the Second
I
World
respect him
War.
already.
Yeah.
And he went into battle with a longbow, bagpipes, and a Scottish
A
broadsword.
longbow. What is this? Ark Survival Evolved. What the?
And he was the only man to get a confirmed kill with a longbow in the war. Better yet, he lived through the war and lived a long life until he died March 8th, 1996.
What?
It literally just
What did he
Ark
do
Survival
with the
Evolved.
bagpipes? With the bagpipes just to announce his arrival on the battlefield? Or did he actually use them as a weapon?
No, when he like used it, missiles came out of it and just like destroyed like, or like there's just a bunch of arrows
It's just-
sticking out. It just
Blow darts.
I need
They
to.
just come out. I mean, I respect him for the choice that he made. But how did they let him do that? How did they?
yeah, because like if they had like armored like if they just had like would the arrow even able to penetrate someone? Like wouldn't it be wearing like body art?
Like the machine guns. This man's just going and then just cutting through the bullet.
I think what happened is he had a gun next to the longbow and it looked like he killed someone with an arrow, but it was actually a bullet.
He was just
or he told the other guy to like hold the arrow between his arms so it looked like it stabbed him and he just like falls on the floor. It's like...
Well,
I just imagine like the guy after doing it.
Not the arrow itself. So maybe he just hit someone on the head really hard.
Yes. Do you think I'm thinking of his reaction after doing that? He starts doing the goddamn MLG stuff, like, "Oh my god, get the camera!" He's the guy who invented MLG.
He probably no-scoped it. 360.
Because
I mean,
there's
he was
also
understand it.
there's also one that I saw that was like really good, but I'm trying to remember it, like the name of the guy. All right,
It was probably something not cool.
I'll tell you I don't know what his name, but I know he was Spanish, and basically this man, he wanted to be a spy for the Allies. He wanted to be a spy for the British during World War II. And basically he was rejected, so he came up with a plan. Basically, so then he went to the Germans and said he wanted to be a spy for them. They agreed, and basically they paid him, and they paid him money to go into Britain to spy for them. But he didn't actually do that. He took the money and then stayed in Spain, and he gave the he gave the Germans information that he had read in the newspaper and in Spain and had watched at like cinemas, in like where like and things like that. And they took that as actual good information. So they began to trust him more and more, and they began to tell him better information and inform him a bit more. After he'd gotten enough information, he then went to the British again and like the Allies again and said, "Oh, I've been undercover, like working for the Germans. This is what I've done." So then they let him. Then he becomes an official spy for them. And then during his spy work, he finds out that on D-Day there was going to be a certain part of the beach that was going to I think he tells the Germans that there's going to be a certain part of the beach that's going to be attacked, but that was actually misinformation. He told them that because the British told him to. So while they heavily guarded that portion of the beach, they attacked obviously where they attacked during D-Day, like Omaha Beach, things like that. And this man was rewarded the highest medal you can earn on both sides. He was earned the Iron Cross from the Germans, and he also earned I can't remember what it's called, but he earned probably the best medal you can receive on the Allied side, and he won both.
How did wait? But the Germans were guarding the wrong part of the beach, weren't they?
Yeah, but he still received the medal for his work. Like he was wrong, but like they couldn't like pin it down on one person. So
Well,
he
that's
still
funny.
received the medal.
Did he live a long life too?
I think he might have, yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, it's cool, but it's not as cool as the longbow dude.
Or the
No,
guy who
longbow dude.
literally survived the landmine because you took him
Or
to me.
I also
or the limitless
remember.
dude, yeah.
I also remember briefly reading about. Oh wait, no. This guy is like there was a guy, a Korean man called Yang Kyung-jon, and
That's
basically he was a Korean who was conscripted into the Japanese army to fight the Soviets. After the Japanese were defeated, the Soviets conscripted him into fighting for them to fight the Germans. But when the Soviets lost that battle, the Germans conscripted him to help defend the Utah beach of Normandy during D-Day, where he was captured by U.S. forces and sent to a POW camp in the U.S. After release, he settled in Illinois. He's the only soldier to have to serve in 3 separate nations' army in one war. So he fought for the Japanese, he fought for the Russians, and he fought for the Germans.
Yeah,
and then
he obviously wasn't very successful because they all lost.
So I mean, I guess actually no, because no, the Russians won technically, but he was on the losing side at the end.
Exactly. He was kind of crap.
Yeah, he was shit.
That'll teach you to conscript my Korean buddy. I bet it was all part of the Jack's master plan.
Oh yeah, and there's also you guys have probably also heard about the guy, the Japanese man, who like after being attacked fled to a deserted island, and he was discovered 30 years later, not knowing the war had ended.
Jesus
I didn't know
Christ!
that.
Jesus.
Yeah, this Japanese man did not know the war had ended 30 years later, and he'd hidden away.
Did he get on the island just by like crash plane or something?
No,
No,
he just swam
fled
there. He was like, took some amphetamines and just swam there.
Yeah.
Just...
That's how he lived for 30 years on a desert island.
he didn't drink or eat. He just took them. And he just powered through it like.
Okay, James.
Thanks.
But so who found him?
I think he was just discovered like years past when they were just like people were just going to that island or something like that. I can't remember exactly how he was found, but he just didn't know. It ended. No one told him.
That's
But I think
it's so weird.
it was something along
It's
that
so weird
line.
to
He was
think that
like, he
someone
still
didn't know the
refused to
war
surrender.
ended.
He like still refused to surrender. Like,
Oh right.
like he was like, no, I don't believe it. The Japanese
It's
wouldn't
so weird
stop.
for like because it's almost similar to how there's like tribes that no one knows about and they like literally don't know anything about the like anything else around them. Like it's just interesting. Oh, okay, Brandon's gone.
Oh no, he's back.
Brandon.
That's it.
Brandon.
Told
For
you it
some
was
reason,
rubbish Wi-Fi.
everything went wrong.
No, yeah, but it's just weird to think that he literally was like so he was like closed off to the point that he literally didn't know the war ended. Like
Yeah,
I mean, I can understand that, but why wouldn't he ever?
because I mean it is reasonable because if he like was because yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's
But
also
honestly,
a
if it was
story.
30 years,
Yeah.
he must have just like used his intuition to think, I could go somewhere.
Yeah, but he
You know?
I
probably
mean, no,
thought
I
like
guess
he
he
probably
just thought that
it's
he'd
more
be killed. I
safer. Like
imagine. I thought that if he tried to flee, he would have been found and killed. So I imagine he was just too afraid. Um, he was just like, yeah, no, I'm chilling here, and he basically just
Do you
lived
think
off
he
the land.
based on a coconut?
He had a like an underground den, and that he just sort of hid in, and he made things out of bamboo and things like that.
it's also that must have been like 30 years of isolation. Like Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Yeah, we think we
Yeah.
have it hard after 2 months.
Oh yeah. There was the bear that served in the Polish army during World War II.
I think I've heard of this, but
His name's a
anyway.
Wojtek the bear, and he was a artillery supply bear who would help carry supplies for the Polish army.
Bro, that's sick. Why don't we? Can we
And
use that now?
It was
Like,
a bear, and
So it's like how we have seeing eye dogs. They have
with the
artillery.
bear.
and
We might as well
similarly,
use bears. Like, come on, they're like massive and will just destroy
yeah, but
everything.
much more hard to tame than like dogs.
we don't
No.
we don't have bears. We don't natively. We don't have
Well, we
bears.
could just I don't know get a
Borrow
Minecraft
some.
spawner of bears and put that somewhere in Britain, and it'll be fine.
A bear
I mean,
spawner.
Yeah, finally
what would
bears.
happen theoretically if you set bears that we have in zoos free in the same forest? Do you think we could then get a population of bears native to Britain growing?
Maybe, or it would just fuck with the ecosystem.
It probably would do. It probably destroy the
Nah.
ecosystem because there's
Nah.
there's tons of like smaller
You know,
animals and no other like. It's
yeah,
only us
the
to
bears
kill the
wouldn't really
bears.
have
So like,
the bears wouldn't really have any natural predators in this country.
also would it even
Oh,
have the
we've
right
got
amount of
deer.
food for it?
There aren't predators. They would just kill.
Yeah, but we have like deer and foxes
Yeah,
and
but it's like
badgers.
I swear, like yeah, but I don't know if like any of the deers are endangered here or not, so they could just wipe them out like
I
easily.
don't
Like,
care. Do you know, our wildlife here is so bad.
wait, it's so
You
bland.
know?
We have the common animals that are everywhere. Like we don't have like
Yeah,
any unique like
foxes,
plant.
deer.
We have a
Yeah,
snake.
yeah. It's
We have
like,
rabbits.
it's like even our plants are just like common. Like oh yeah, oak tree.
I think the most common animals we have are people from Essex, and that's
Yeah.
it. It's we need something more exciting. You know, just set some animals loose from the zoo, let them.
Yo, we
mingle,
have tons
and
of parakeets. They're a tropical bird. Yeah.
not with Josh keeps shooting them.
I do want to be for my bird feeder, so I shoot them. I'll give you
I
some
don't know.
context.
I don't
Yeah,
know
what
the I
do
don't know the
this.
context. I don't
Oh,
know the
oh,
context here.
right. Well, I'll inform you. So basically, Josh has he's got a gun. Well, no, his dad has an air rifle, and he said that they use it to shoot the birds. And well, what birds? All birds? And he was like, no, just the parakeets. So I'm like, okay, why do you shoot the parakeets? And he goes, because they're eating from the bird feeders.
And then it was like I was with Brandon, and then I was asking him like, but why though? And he was like, okay, I'll give you more context. And he went, oh yeah, I just want blue
Yeah,
tits. But like, what is that answer? Like, you can't control the birds. That you just like, I only want one
He
bird.
kills
It's
the
like,
birds because he doesn't want that kind
also,
of bird
what did he
eating
say?
from the
He said
bird
something
feeder.
about like what did he say? He said something about crows or something that I found funny because I think we were saying like vultures. He went, "Oh wait, no, they're crows." We're like, yeah, it's like,
I can't remember exactly what he said. But it was like he put out bird feeders for the birds to come and feed.
and he gets
shoots the
angry that
birds
they're eating the
because
food.
they're eating from the bird.
He's like,
feeders.
he puts food out. He's
And then he was like,
What-
yeah, but sometimes we just fire the gun to scare them away. And they were like, you're shooting them, so that would scare them away. What do you mean? So
I
he's
was
killing the
I was
parrot.
saying that like Josh is that kind of like drunk father thing where he sits in like a tank top with beers next to him and he has a gun. It's like he's sort of shooting the birds like that's my feed. I was saying a thing like he's actively he has like bird feeder and in his like hand and he's putting it onto the floor for the birds and he gets angry because they're eating it from it. He's like, "What? That's my food!" What? He's-
Start shooting them. That was
I have
that was
I have
that was his.
I have more like there was a story of a tail gunner on a B-24 plane, and
Yeah.
basically during the battle, because the tail part is really lightweight and it has these big airfoil surfaces, when it was basically the plane was hit by a shot and split in half, but he didn't notice. And basically, because this part was so
Wait,
light,
he didn't.
it would
He
this
didn't notice
was
this plane was shot.
slowly
Because, like,
this part of the plane was slowly going to the ground, like really, really slowly. So slowly that he didn't realize the plane had crashed until he'd hit the bottom, and until he landed. Until he landed.
Does he not notice that like the planes like when it
No,
like
he was like looking completely
just sitting there
forward.
like, oh, I wonder
He was
where I'm
looking
going down.
forward, and he was just like he just imagined that he was so focused on everything else
He was
going on, he
probably
didn't realize.
on too many drugs. He'd taken too much
Yeah,
amphetamine.
he took too many that he like was
Even
immune to the crash. Yeah,
he even shot down Alex. What are you doing? He even
don't
shot
know.
down.
He's just giving birth.
He even shot down an enemy plane as he was falling.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually a MLG moment. Hit marker, Doritos, Mountain Dew.
Weed.
Yeah, we Snoop
Oh,
Dogg
yeah,
doing
there's
that dance.
this is like I think this
when you said that the dude from a Scary Movie was Snoop Dogg.
Sure.
there's also there's like I think like the last one I'll list off is not really a funny one, it's more of an interesting one, which was a Finnish sniper called Simo Haya, who is known as the
Another
White Death. He was known as the White Death.
Was he
Basically
white?
he was a sniper who would like basically lay in the snow, like in this pure white
Oh
camo.
wait, yeah,
That's what he was
wasn't he like
called.
really good at like?
He had over 505 kills.
Yeah, I've heard this.
He
It's like
was
really weird.
The Germans and the Russians were terrified of him. He got shot in the face and lost part of his jaw, but survived. In minus like 40-degree temperatures, which I'm guessing is probably Fahrenheit.
Yeah, probably.
He stayed out there killing people all winter. That's why Russia never.
Yeah, I
defeated
I
them.
think I've actually heard of that one. Like, it was like I just watched some video on it. Like, yeah. That means I know more about it because I watched one video.
And he didn't use and while he was sniping, he never used a scope. He did it purely by iron sights.
Oh, cool.
That is.
All the
And just probably
comments,
because he was another thin
all the
on
comments on
amphetamine.
this story are just about I'd probably get this guy with my 360 no scope. um, But yeah, that's about the extent of the stories that I've got. There are a few more, but I can't really remember the details enough to make it a full thing.
Bro, do you
Well,
think the
that
guy
was
sniping had
pretty
his like
funny.
POV zoomed in tons? He was like, he has he basically had like Minecraft settings to change.
Yeah. Dude, he didn't know. He just had binoculars. He was just like stuck it to the end, duct tape. But,
Right, well, we've got James talking in our ears saying 32 minutes. And,
it's really ominous.
I think-
It's
I
really
think
ominous sometimes. Just like it feels like
Yeah.
we're counting down to our deaths.
it feels like
29
he's just gonna get faster and louder.
2 minutes.
Poggers.
No.
Poggers champ.
Anyway,
Oh.
this was
Yeah, well,
Bang It's the podcast online.
well, no, it's all online. That's how...
But
Poggers.
yeah, this isn't real life podcast. This is over internet podcast. They listen to it over the internet, but we are over internet.
Thank you, Brandon.
Bro feast.
Shut up. I'll go.
Start
then.
just copying like every other
I'm
YouTuber.
I'm leaving. Goodbye.
I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Finn's gone.
Bang out. I said bang out, James. We can end now.